about the aspirations of the Bodhisattva, because I've heard that the Bodhisattva can aspire to attain Buddhahood, to then conduct all beings to Buddhahood, but that the Bodhisattva can also aspire to not attain Buddhahood until all beings have attained Buddhahood. So could you talk a bit more about this?
Yeah. Actual essence of Bodhicitta. Everybody heard her question? Yeah, I think so, right? In Maitreya's teaching called what do you call Sutra Alankara, whatever. In Bodhicitta essence of Bodhicitta is to dedicate oneself for the well-being of all. Okay? Therefore, you wish to, because you realize, you really care about everybody else. Okay, now, you have some real wisdom started happen in your mind. You have correct understanding now. Everybody's in pain and suffering, and mother sentient being. Oh, I really have to do something about it, And I really want to do something about it. And then you realize, if I don't achieve Buddhahood, if I'm not an enlightened being myself, I don't have ability to really help. The so-called help, if you're not an enlightened being, you really cannot really help. You're talking about a little mundane help here and there. It's some kind of help, but it's not a true help. You see? So you have this very correct understanding. You have to achieve. You have to have an enlightened quality to be able to. So, the actual essence of Bodhicitta, enlightened heart, essence of enlightenment is, altruism, meaning you really think, I want to achieve, the wish to strive in the spiritual path and journey of work is not, I want to be something, but I really want to help others. This is the correct thinking, Yeah, okay. And then once this second type of thing that you're mentioning, I will not attain Buddhahood, perfect Buddhahood until everybody attains, is the story of Chenrezig comes in. There's already, it's an enlightened Bodhisattva story. The very Bodhisattva who's has considerable progress already made, and then makes all kinds of vows like that. It doesn't really care now, if you achieve perfection or not. But in order to make the second type of vow, you have to already achieve like first Bhumi Bodhisattva or so. Yeah, I think. Yeah. You see, I keep on telling everybody, defining characteristic of what constitute true enlightened path or not is, based on pure love, pure compassion. And so that's at this point, even as confused as we are in human being, sentient being, at this point, pure love, pure compassion is where the essence of Bodhicitta comes in. See, it's the essence of what we call a relative Bodhicitta. It's not absolute yet. Absolute Bodhicitta is understanding the truth. When you have complete understanding of the truth, that's when you have great compassion. Byproduct of that understanding is overwhelming, unceasing force of compassion, like Mahamudra prayer says, that's bursting out of it because you understood. Thanks to your enlightened Guru, you understood who you are. You're no more confused. And then you realize, your true nature, mind, like Mahamudra prayer says, is great bliss. And then everybody's starving of great bliss. And that's where you have this great compassion. And then you have a correct wisdom. Not only everybody's starving, you can see everybody's mother sentient being too, and so on, you see? So that's why concept of mother sentient being and so on comes in very important. Yeah. That's, you see, the good news, ultimate good news is even a most neurotic human being has a potential to generate virtuous quality. See? And then I'm specifically referring to virtuous quality of practice of love and compassion. Seed is there, you know. It might be small for some, you know. Very little compassion, very little love. It might be that, but it can grow, you know. Training, you can train and you can build a neuroplasticity, right? Amazing, you know, when you train, and then, you know, compassionate mind, you know, like under MRI, and so you can see the people with really great compassion. It's just incredible how the brain waves are, they say, you know. Luckily, Dharma students understand that you're temporary and ultimate. Joy, happiness, everything depends on love and compassion. It really is, you know. Yeah. Yeah. Very simple, actually, right? You know, a loving, kind, and compassionate person in the society has to be the happiest person. Can't be the other way around. Angry, upset, you know, somebody with so much negative emotion cannot be the happiest person. You see? Like that, right? Yeah. Modern research, these, you know, neuroscience research, are very helpful towards proving, you know, Buddha's teaching as far as like what, you know, makes people happy and so on. You know, they can see in the brain. Is one of the quality that they found out now is it's undisputed fact is gratitude, they say, no? And those who lack gratitude, very unhappy people, miserable, depressed, you know. And then it's kind of like, you know, I think that's the epitome of self-centeredness. Total lack of gratitude. Anybody, mother, father, society, any human, no gratitude, just me, and then miserable. You see? See, the many psychologists have figured out now, you know, gratitude. And then, you know, I don't mean to bash American culture, but in the name of freedom and individual right and so on, everybody is taught to become so self-centered. They can't even put their mothers and father before themselves. That's the one thing that I'm very pissed off with American culture. You know? You don't even honor your own parents. You know? You know, it's a big choice comes between you and parents. Oh, you come first. Well, that really pissed me off. I grew up in a, you know, different, I mean, moral and ethical upbringing, you know. This somehow just deeply irritates me, you know, this kind of thing. You know? How can you not put your parents first? You wouldn't even be alive. Forget about your rights. You wouldn't even be alive without your mother and father, you know, right? Like that. So you see, these researchers find out the gratitude is very important. And people have very difficulty expressing gratitude and so on. And then they come up with ideas like, you know, just even an idea like, you know, morning, get up and walk out of your bed and look up in the sky, and if there's a sun, a nice beautiful day, just be grateful, they say. It works too, they say, you know. You see? And then if you, then I think some brain waves start to change. If you can just think like that, oh, I'm so glad, nice, bright, beautiful day. I'm grateful for sun to show up, maybe, you know, if not grateful to your parents or anybody else. right? Like that. Yeah. By the way, for all you Dharma practitioners, you have to understand one thing, and that is, world of samsara will on and off absolutely will irritate you. Okay? And then whoever can manage that irritation, turn into a positive side, is the one who overcomes that. Whoever cannot is stuck here. Trungpa Rinpoche was once asked a question about, negative emotions and neurosis, so one of the students. And I remember hearing Trungpa Rinpoche said that seeing one's own neurosis clearly is part of enlightened process. See, not always like somebody else, oh, he pissed me off, he's constantly hurting me, harming me, he just irritates me. No, you have to be able to see your own neurosis. And then you have to be able to let it go. Ultimately, let it go is you have to let it go. You see, that's the thing. That's what the teaching of ego clinging and so on is all about. Emptiness teaching is a very profound teaching in letting go. See? Yeah, I like that.
Someone wrote a question for you. It said, Rinpoche, you have done more than 1,000-Nyungnes, which is very inspiring. Is there any part of your practice you do during your mantra recitation that you can share with us, which can be learned by us and or be inspirations for practitioners here? Thank you so much.
What? Any part of mantra? What?
Do you have any kind of advice during the mantra recitation that you think would help practitioners?
Well, ideal way of reciting mantra will be, while you recite the mantra, undistracted mind, one-pointedly, clearly, visualize yourself as a deity and mantra and heart center, focus, concentrate, and recite. That's the ideal thing. If visualization and concentration, focus like that not possible, then just recite sincerely, and that's good enough. Yeah. And initially, if you do sincerely, then you receive Nyungne blessings, the benefit of the Nyungne practice, the mention in the Nyungne doctrine. You will receive all the blessing, If you recite the mantra sincerely, you keep the vow, 8 precept vow correctly, benefit is there, Like that. My Thousand-Nyungne was inspired by Nyungne history masters. Nyungne gurus, I taught this practice, and then I had to teach on and off during practice, right? Then I was looking at all these Nyungne history, Nyungne masters, all these things. So then I saw most of these great enlightened Nyungne masters, they all did at least 1,000-Nyungne story. Then that inspired me also, I'm like, okay, I got to do that too. Actually, as most of you all know, I come from my enlightened guru's lineage called Golden Teaching Lineage. That's my specific lineage. The lineage and the guru that I owe the most to. And I also belong to this Karmapa and Taisidarum, which is a specific lineage called, Telopa, Naropa, this Marpa, Milarepa lineage, and Mahasiddha Saraha's lineage, both. I kind of come from both lineage. So I'm supposed to be a practitioner of Mahamudra. But then, Nyungne, I was a young, by the way, for your information, I was a young, struggling Buddhist teacher trying to survive in the world of samsara and trying to represent my enlightened guru, from whom I've benefited so much, trying to represent. I was a struggling young teacher then. And then I taught all kinds of things, teaching, practice, my guru told me that, the story about, how I ended up coming to the United States and so on. Okay, now here's the thing. For a true Dharma practitioner, somebody who understands Dharma, number one thing to do is to completely renounce everything and become a pure Dharma practitioner, meaning like go to cave and completely devote yourself. That's the number one. Okay? So I must admit, I couldn't do the number one. Okay? So I was doing the number two, second, and that is practice myself and also, help others. So my guru and I had a discussion, and then, I grew up with him. Most of you know, right? And then as I, became a young adult, then now what? And then my guru says, now, I would love you to be with me all the time, but now that you are an adult, you grew up, you already, capable of being on your own. And then, number one option is, of course, do retreat, solitary retreat completely. But then, number two would be just practice yourself and help others. There are students from the West asking you to come, go. So that's how I came to the West, okay? And then I was a young teacher trying to teach all kinds of things, and then I was like, I was always very sincere, whatever I taught, little thing. And it was kind of like, Dharma practice, little retreats here, there, all beneficial, good, but I didn't feel that beneficial, by the way, And then one time we did Nyungne. That was in the early 90s. And Nyungne, as you can see, it was hard, for first time, new student, and never done fasting. But then after Nyungne, just one set of Nyungne, everybody felt tremendous benefit, you see? That's when I realized, this, it's a serious and commitment and practice, but it really benefits, like that. Then it started with second Nyungne, third Nyungne, like that, and it was very beneficial. Then we got more and more, doing more and more. Then ended up doing 8 Nyungne, because 8 Nyungne is part of the actual teaching, to do 8 is considered one complete, complete set, like that. Then I could see it very beneficial, and then, initially I didn't have ambition to do 1,000. I'm like, this very benefits people. Okay, wonderful. Okay, I told myself, okay, I'm going to make a commitment to do 100, and then help others also, lead together. And then we start to do Nyungnes, few Nyungnes here, few Nyungnes there, so on. 108 Nyungne finished very quickly, within few years, finish. Then, you see, now that's the thing. We are in a completely enlightened path. So now not stopping, there's no stopping. You have to go on until you become perfect. You see, this is what I mean by Buddhists are the most ambitious. You believe in complete perfection of yourself, actually. So I'm like, okay, now it looks like Nyungne teaching is benefiting everybody else, and then benefiting me too, Okay, then I took the next step. And it was inspired by Nyungne history gurus, who also did Thousand-Nyungne. Okay, these great Nyungne masters did Thousand-Nyungne, I shall do that too. Then I made my commitment to do Thousand-Nyungne, and then we continually do Nyungne, like that, And then, by the way, for your information, when Nyungne, when it comes to 1,000, boy, the numbers are not adding up quick enough. It's very slow. Then 200, little 200, and like from 200, 300, looks like it's taking a long time, you know. I'm like, oh, I was counting years and times. Like, oh, I don't want to be like 70, 80 years old, and then I'm still not finished my Thousand-Nyungne, you know. Oh, I got to do something more. I mean, something about it. Then I decided to do a lot of personal Nyungne, private Nyungne myself. A lot of. Then I was like, oh, I have to at least hit the halfway mark, 500 mark. And I did personal Nyungne. It was in Los Angeles, you know, in my own place. Every week I had to teach Saturday night. We have a Saturday night class in Los Angeles Center, and I lead, practice, and teach. Other than that, I was doing Nyungne, almost like all year round, Nyungne. And then, now I don't remember exactly how long it took, but then I finally made it 500, you know, mark, halfway through. Then I felt tremendously relieved. Now it looked like, you know, another 500 looks like not too bad in terms of, how do you say, goal, you know. Otherwise, it's like, it's numbers doesn't add up very easily, because you have to do the whole 2 day to add, you know. It's taking a long time. Yeah. Like, so in 2022, and that Thousand-Nyungne, I finally accomplished. And guess what? Took me about 25 years total. 25 years, you know. Yeah. You see, maybe one of the lessons people can learn from my example is if you don't give up, you achieve, you know. You see, the thing is, there are people willing to die for all kinds of stupid reasons. See? You know, if you were to sacrifice something for a right enlightened reason, you know, those who are willing to die for all kinds of silly reasons, you know, like political prisoners and so on, like for something, they're willing to die. You know, things like that. If they have this kind of determination towards achieving Buddhahood, they could be like Milarepa, you know. It's the same kind of mind thinking, actually. Milarepa is willing to die, you know, rather than fail. That's the Milarepa's thing, you know. I shall rather die than not spiritually not succeed. That's what Milarepa himself says. Yeah. Yeah. This songs of Milarepa, one of his first retreat commitment that he did, he went to mountain and alone and there was nothing, but he told himself, I'm going to be here for 12 years. And then even I don't, you know, get any human food. I would rather, you know, die here than unsuccessfully leave the retreat. And this is his teaching song that he sang was so deeply touching, you know. Now I remember the whole songs, but the part of the song was so deeply touching, and I always remember. And that is his saying, "I would rather die here than leave my retreat unsuccessfully." He says, you know, I'll be satisfied and I'll be happy. Die here than leave unsuccessfully. So. And then I'll be happy and I'll be completely satisfied if my dead body is there and nobody cried over my dead bodies, you know. Yeah. And then I'll be happy, I'll be completely satisfied if my dead body is, you know, kind of rotten there and maggots and insects and others eating. So, yeah. And you know, he goes on and on saying what this shows his conviction and determination to succeed, you know. So courageous, huh? There was an Irish prisoner, you know, those who you are senior citizens who remember. I'm part of that group now, you see. I used to be not, but I'm part of that. And that is, you know, back in the early 80s, you know, when I was first aware of the world politics, news stories and so on, there were a lot of Northern Ireland conflict was still there. And then there were some kind of like bombs and things. You remember there was a thing called Unabomber? Kind of things like that. Northern Ireland, British politicians send bombs and die, and all kinds of things happen, you know. Yeah, actually. And these are very tough people, you know. And then one Irish prisoner died in jail refusing to eat and drink. That's stubborn. You have people like that, willing to die for some kind of Northern Irish right against the British government, you know. They see British government as a, you know, how do you say, the one who's violating their rights, so to speak, you know. And somebody died. This is where the record comes from. Refused to eat and drink. Amazing. Hunger strike. 14 days and died, finally died. Amazing, huh? Okay.